Hello there. Welcome to this auspicious day when the Scottish people finally, by law, banish all hate from their land. Really? Yes, today marks the day when Police Scotland can start investigating you and even arresting you for breaching the new Hate Crime and Public Order Scotland Act that came in force today. I would bet that Police Scotland's phones are ringing off the hook with people complaining about the hate they have suffered today at the hands of others. And I would further bet that most of those phone calls and more probably emails will be originating from the many political activist lobbies in the country. Especially from those who want to see the likes of author J.K. Rowling brought down for her gender-critical stance. Those pink and blue-haired, hard-to-discern gender types will be opening every email, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube post in the hope they can gasp in horror and shock at the contents and then forward them straight on to the miles-high Police Scotland hate crime investigation in tray. With Police Scotland saying they will divert resources away from other crimes in order to deal with the expected massive flood of allegations. And further, that every allegation will be lodged as a non-crime hate incident against the person being complained about, even if there is no proof of a crime. The clue is in the non-crime hate incident. You could end up with a record without even knowing it, a record that a potential employer could access and refuse you a job without having to tell you why. The country of the Enlightenment is bringing forth the age of endarkment. I kid you not. And because of the way that new Scottish law works, anyone who posts such heinous content from anywhere in the world could be found to have committed a crime in Scotland. The only problem for the Scottish police would be extraditing those people. Except in England and Wales, where Police Scotland phones your local plod and they come and take you in to answer for your hate crimes in Scotland. Yes, these new Scottish laws do apply to people south of the border who post on social media south of the border. Don't take my word for it, ask author, broadcaster and human rights activist Craig Murray. And barrister Roddy Dunlop, King's Counsel, who agrees with him. So a hate-free peace is bestowed upon England via a law passed just for Scotland. Now, the UK government could have blocked this new law from getting royal assent on that very basis, but Rishi Sunak's Tory government did not block it. Nor did Keir Starmer's Labour Party object to it, nor the Lib Dems, nor the Greens. That tells me this is the first brick in the wall that blocks out free speech in the UK. The Uniparty has decided amongst itself. You were never asked. And Craig Murray explains what this really means. The Hate Crime Act makes it a criminal offence to insult somebody. You can go to jail for 7 years for insulting somebody. And it doesn't have to be your insult. It could be a mere retweet that sends you to clink. Even sharing a song with offensive lyrics could get you done. So no sending an original version of the Dam Busters to anyone in Scotland. As Murray says, the Scottish courts do not need to extradite people from England and Wales. The police just truss them up and deliver them. You have been warned. Have you posted or reposted anything on the Israel-Gaza war today? Have you been online and commented on the trans issue? Are you getting together with some mates tonight, and will your conversations stray into politics? And if you're in Scotland, will your mate dob you in for hate speech in a private conversation? Now, I'm told that someone who does that in Scotland is called a clype, C-L-Y-P-E, and that there are fears that this law will become a Clype's Charter. where a pound shop McStarsy grasses you to the McPlod. Now, one brave woman, J.K. Rowling, has dared Police Scotland to arrest her for her gender-critical views under these new laws. And she put out on X that, in passing the Scottish Hate Crime Act, Scottish lawmakers seem to have placed higher value on the feelings of men performing their idea of femaleness, however misogynistically or opportunistically, than on the rights and freedoms of actual women and girls. And she said that this law is wide open to abuse by activists trying to silence those who are worried about the safety of those born as women. So she might well be in the frame for an investigation. But so might newly elected MP George Galloway. He printed on his election leaflet that he has no difficulty in defining what a woman is. So when the next general election comes round, he could be asked about this and his answer be made available in Scotland. Could he end up in the frame too? Although, to be fair, they are much more likely to go after someone like Tommy Robinson first, because they probably think it would give their new laws some sort of credibility, although such a move could well backfire on them. Now, we all know this law has not been properly thought through, when no one knows if calling a trans female a he or him would be a crime. They are going to have to wait for the Scottish courts to decide via case law, judge-made law. Obviously, the politicians had no idea what law they were passing, or they were too cowardly to make it clear. So all they've done is given a hospital pass to the courts. Useless is as useless does. But that the UK government has allowed a situation to exist where a law that no English MP has had a vote on can affect everyone in England is a travesty. But I see no indication that Rishi Sunak will rectify this by passing a law to prevent the police from carting someone up to Scotland to face their courts. And that's why I'm concerned that this is just a stepping stone to the complete removal of our freedom of expression. Now, I've heard a lot of talk about backlashes and the like, but what will happen in reality is that people will try and bypass the laws, or they will just not voice their opinions, which is exactly what this law is there to do, to shut people up. And the keyboard warriors will just temper down what they tap out and hope to stay below the radar. And they won't be moaning and groaning to their mates in the pub about it, because the bloke at the end of the bar might be listening in and recording. Think East Germany and China. And don't tell me that those of a certain demographic that live in Scotland won't be queuing up to use this new law to shut down any criticism of their faith across the whole UK. And there might be a certain politician up there who is tempted to use the law to protect himself from political criticism. Now, the Free Speech Union, the FSU, an organisation that has successfully helped many people to fight through the courts for their right to the freedom of expression, had this to say. No doubt you'll have already heard about this draconian new law, whereby a person can be hauled in for questioning by the Scottish police if they're accused of stirring up hatred against a person or group of persons with one or more protected characteristics, including transgender identity. Police Scotland have confirmed that playwrights, actors and performers of all kinds will be within the scope of the new law, including stand-up comedians. So claiming that you're reading out someone else's hate speech on stage, a line from The Merchant of Venice, for instance, or merely referencing a person's protected characteristics for the purposes of making a joke, e.g., an Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman walked into a bar, may not be a watertight defence. In addition, the new law has abolished the dwelling defence, whereby you couldn't be prosecuted for stirring up hatred in your own home. From the 1st of April, a child can accuse a parent of breaking the new law over the kitchen table. And it also gives the warning that if you think you're safe because you live south of the border, don't be so sure. Now, I'm a member of the FSU, just as a precaution. But if you feel at risk from these new laws, then I would personally recommend you join. An annual membership starts at $29.99 or $4.99 a month. And to be clear, I do not get any commission from it. Not much when you consider what the loss of your employment would mean to you and your family were you to get caught up in one of those lawfare spats. We are heading for extremely dark days, especially when Labour gets into power. I think Starmer will extend on those Scottish laws. And they are hoping that the people of the UK will gag themselves to prevent prosecution. But for how long will they put up with it, is the question.